Okay, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys all across the land. It is now nearly 9:30, and we're a little late coming in with Shop Talk from the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studios here tonight. I apologize, we're having some connectivity issues, probably thanks to Comcast. We won't get into that, but Chris Callen here in Cycle Source Magazine headquarters, and I'm joined by my co-host Ken Connie out in Colorado. What's up, Ken?
Oh, that's not going to work. There we go. Now that my mic's on, that'll work.
Jesus, we can't get it together tonight, huh?
Yeah.
So you guys will notice right off the bat that Ken's picture is freezing from time to time, and that's the issue that we were having. But we're here now, and we're going to be rocking through the show real quick. As always, right off to the side from me is the lovely Heather, who's coming in with all the social media concerns, your comments. And Heather was ready for the show really early.
Somebody had to be.
The rest of us bums, forget it. But you guys are already rocking up the comments. I want to thank you for that. And I want to remind you, if you want to keep Shop Talk going, do the little share thing. Already Rob Tigre's in, Tim Carnes, Bob Long in from New Hampshire.
Oh, right on. Tim Carnes, I'm guessing, is from Pittsburgh or somewhere near here.
Where Yin's guys been.
Zach Conway is with us. Hey, Zach, how you doing? You getting ready for the big day?
What's that?
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Zach's getting married.
Right.
That's crazy, but awesome. He couldn't have found a better girl, so.
Right on. So here we go with Shop Talk. Without any further ado, since we're already late, we're going to rock through a couple news headlines and then get to our first guest. But first up, as always, the news.
Yeah, we're coming at you live.
Sorry. Go ahead, say that again.
No, I was just going to say we're coming at you live from Motorcycle Attorney Studios.
That's right.
Huge supporter of ours, so we're excited to have them on board. And we've got some news for you this week. Where are we going to start?
I think we're going to start with Honda. Believe it or not, this almost falls under the heading of batshit crazy news, but right? I mean, seriously. So in the news from Honda this week, Honda hasn't given up on the hydrogen motorcycle yet. We've been talking electric motorcycles to death, but those kooky kids over at Honda are splitting the motorcycle atom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I think that there's something to be said. I had a buddy of mine who he actually did a hydrogen cell drone, I believe. And so it's definitely technology that people are using and trying to figure out how to use, but it is far from being perfected. But I think Honda wanted to, kind of make their mark by putting this out there, and maybe, they're definitely not one of the first. It's been done before. But I just thought it was interesting, that they were reporting on this. So
I think it's kind of batshit crazy.
Yeah.
What's next?
I think fuel cell technology is cool, man. Yeah, I'm all about it.
I know you are.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Peace Frog.
And I'm also frozen.
No, it's Moto Yogi.
Moto Yogi.
Get it right.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, Ken is freezing from time to time, but that's not going to stop the show tonight.
Somebody said he looks like Max Headroom when he freezes with the little glitch.
Hey, so this is something that's sad to report in the news, and we need to leave all levity behind when we talk about it. Unfortunately, this past week, Jesse Rook passed away at the Arizona Bike Week, and our deepest sympathies go out to him and his family, all of his friends. I mean, it rocked the motorcycle industry. It's especially hard because he was so young.
Yeah, he was 45 years old, young family. Yeah, it's so tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, had a little girl. Yeah, it's a bummer, man. Yeah, gone too soon for sure. I don't know. I remember when his bikes, when he came on the scene, I think it was the LA Calendar Show was the first time he really showed a bike. And it was like 2000, like early 2000s, 2002 maybe. And I just remember seeing his bike and going, wow, that's not like anything I've seen before. I think his first bike was Dyna. Was it Dyna or Darla? And this was before Dyna was a thing.
Yeah.
It was DINAH. He named all of his Not all of his bikes, but a lot of his bikes after ladies. But super cool bike. If you don't know about him or haven't heard of him, go look him up. Just put Jesse Rook in and you'll see some crazy motorcycles over the years, race inspired. I believe he was a go-kart racer as well. Just super innovative. So he's going to be missed.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, our hearts and prayers go out to his family. Rich Petoniak in the house tonight. How's things going at Indian? He's actually Indian of Springfield, right?
Yes.
Can you imagine having that on your business cards, man? Indian of Springfield.
Well,
I just want to know if he's ridden that FTR 1200. I think they got a couple in the other day.
Yeah.
So, Rich, I have two things for you. Number one, we're doing Grease and Gears Garage again at the Laconia Roadhouse. So get your lessons ready because we would love to invite you to join us again. You did such a great job. And it looks like we're going to be doing drag races at the Roadhouse.
Dirt drags.
Dirt drags.
More importantly.
Run what you brung, dirt drags. So get ready.
Uphill.
Yeah, uphill. We
It's
need
not really a hill. It's a little incline.
Yeah, but hey, listen, what could be more better than hillbilly style, just all out heads up dirt drag racing in the back of
It's going to be awesome.
yeah, right? In the back of the Roadhouse.
Tell everyone you know.
So Rich, we're counting on you and a couple of the crazies that you know up there.
For sure.
Hey, we should actually invite him to bring something from Indian of Springfield to
Right.
do on the Grease and Gears Garage stage. We haven't had
Wait
Indian.
a minute. Screw Grease and Gears garage stage. I want to see one of those things get down in the dirt and do that dirt drag.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Scout 60?
Yup.
Now we're talking.
Right on. So back to the news here for a minute. This is Ken's neighborhood. Actually his, right?
That's
So-
right. I totally forgot that I sent that to you. I sent you the news and then I didn't put that up. Yeah. So this year we do the Ride to the Quail every year. I was just talking to Paul Yaffe and he was talking about how I'm going to see him up there in a couple weeks. And this year Brian decided to do individual fundraiser pages. So, and I said, okay, that sounds cool. And he's like, you should put one up. And I was like, that's a great idea. So I did, and I'm doing it for my buddy Trevor. My buddy Trevor just died of brain cancer just a couple months ago, and knew him throughout his illness. I think he lasted almost 16 years with it, kind of had a lot of treatments. Anyways, so I'm riding for him. I'm riding for Trevor. Any and all donations, even if it's $1 or $2, it all goes to the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. So
I'm going to put a link to that in our comment section. For
Awesome.
those of you who want to donate, please do.
And I would love to be, I don't like losing, so I would love to be the biggest donor of everybody. So I put a goal of $1,000. I think I can raise $1,000. So
Jason Sims
it.
is checking in from the road. What's up, Jason?
what's up, man? I saw him riding. He's riding down there. He did the
Right.
Texas
He was at the
Fandango.
Fandango.
I know.
Looks like he's on his way back.
Baby, all I can tell you is I'm sorry we didn't make the Fandango.
We would have if we lived in Texas.
Yeah. And if wishes was horses,
I
beggars
knew you
would
were going to say
ride.
that. Blah, blah, blah.
All right, so moving on, we're gonna hop off here for 1 second off of the main course of things and take a little look at some quick, cheap, down and dirty shop tech. Okay, so any of you guys that know me know that I'm typically a proponent of cheap tools, like, whatever you can use to get the job done. Was trying to bend some 1 3/4, 120 wall DOM tubing for a project, and I didn't have the right die for my Mittler bender, so I was trying to use, just to get away with it, because I only had a couple bends to do, I was trying to use the old Kinker bender. And you can see I got one bend almost kind of cool, but pretty soon it lived up to its name, and eventually I even broke the die. So Kinker out the window, and still had my project to do. So I ordered the die and the follow block from Mittler. 1 3/4 tubing, Mittler Brothers hydraulic bender. It's an 1 3/4 120 wall, and okay, arrived at my 90. Take it out of the die. And there's my 90. So, cost a little extra money, like $600 for that. So the bottom line of this whole experiment was the fact that sometimes you just got to put money in the tools. I mean, that combined, we paid like $600 for the die and the follow block, but the fact that it bent that pipe in, under a minute flat, and I could get on with what I was doing was worth it for me. I mean, it's a good investment. Mittler Brothers, always makes a great tool. We use all of their stuff, and I appreciate them helping out the way they do. You can see a lot of their stuff on Grease and Gears when we hit the road.
Okay, wait a minute though. As your wife, I want to know why on God's green earth you think a cheap tool is $600.
I don't.
That is not
listen,
cheap.
When I started off with that, I was saying I'm usually a proponent of cheap tools, and I tried to use the couple $100.
I was like, you're holding out on me. Is there something I don't know?
Oh, Jesus. Carlos Amador in the house. Carlos, man, we're pulling for you all the time, buddy. I can't wait to see you out regular at events and stuff again. It's good to hear that things are...
Realities Ride, Memorial Day weekend, you better be there. We're going to be in Fort Collins.
Yep.
It's way too close for you to make an excuse.
Wait a minute. Where's he from?
Carlos, you're from Boulder or something like that, right?
No, I think, is it the same Carlos that I know?
I don't know. How many Carloses do you know?
Answer if that's the case. If you're the one that gave me a ride back from Sturgis one year. That would be funny.
Nice Ben from Chris. No, thanks, man. Carlos says he's from Denver.
Okay, different Carlos.
Right on. Okay, so back to the news for one more brief. This coming in from Power Sports Business. And March same store unit sales, dollar flattish from Lightspeed. So, this, again, to the general state of things with motorcycling. Business shows that sales dollars of new and pre-owned units at over 1,600 U.S. Power Sports dealerships were about flat in March compared to March of 2018 dollars. Lightspeed data shows overall sales dollars increased by 0.1% in the U.S. Northeast region had the largest growth in March versus March 2018 with an increase of 7.1% in dollar sales. So
everybody go out and buy a motorcycle.
Yeah, this is something I keep saying though. It's not these things are important trends to watch, but it's not a complete picture of everything that goes on out here. There's like Rich said, they're kicking ass where they're at. I know a lot of people that are, doing performance mods and customization and stuff. There's a bunch of different aspects of the business that you have to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I agree. And, for people that don't know, Lightspeed is like a fully integrated customer service computer system.
Stop the presses right now.
What?
Hang on.
What?
I see on social media, William Elkhorn says $600 is cheap for that tool. Money spent on the right tool is never wasted.
Red, you shush your mouth.
Is that Red? Red is actually on Facebook? You have no idea what that means. Red is a surly old biker bastard.
Pigs have obviously flown.
The fact that he would be on Facebook just to get a word in edgewise is tantamount to the second coming of Christ himself.
Carlos, how are the Rockies doing? I can't watch while I'm on the show. That would be awful. But I am curious.
Right on. Okay, well, I think we've probably long overlapped our segment times, and our first guest is probably waiting. So I'm going to get him on the phone while you introduce him, Ken.
Who is it?
Michael Lichter.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Right on. I like Mike. He's a nice guy. He's a great photographer. He likes taking pictures of motorcycles. No, Michael Lichter, renowned photographer.
Save him.
Photographer. Yeah, he's a great guy. Everybody knows who he is.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Okay.
303.
Blah, 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 blah.
We got ditched by Michael Lichter live on the show.
I don't know. My phone is completely dead, so I couldn't tell you if he's like messaging me right now or not. Did you call a studio or his cell phone?
I called his cell phone.
Okay. Do you have a studio number?
I do.
Okay, call a studio. My phone's completely dead, otherwise I would. I mean, I literally could have had him up to my studio,
Right?
and then we could have done it that way.
Hello, you've reached Michael Lichter Photography. Sorry, we're not in.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on.
That just happened. So while
Who's
we
our
wait,
next guest?
while we, this is a hell of a night, isn't it? Roy Martin's in the house. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Roy?
Okay, so while we wait for someone to get a hold of Michael and tell him that we're working on it, we're actually gonna install a new segment into Shop Talk, and we want to in advance say thank you for coming on board to V-Twin Visionary. A lot of you guys will know the name Jeff Holt, and Jeff is going to be doing product segments with us. So let's check out what the new scoop is from V-Twin Visionary.
Jeff G. Holt of V-Twin Visionary, and I am here with a few offerings of really cool and good performing products. Starting with the Vans Cult Grips made by OTI. They are really cool rubber. They have that Vans look to them. Waffle sole, definitely something people are into. People love Vans, put them on your bike, look cool. But they actually work and feel really good. They don't just look cool. Another thing is a new product that's out called Rad Flags, Rescue and Distress Flags. And what they do is it comes in a little container you keep on your bike. And if you have any roadside assistance you need or anything, you simply take it and hang it from your handlebar. And it's a distress flag. Really cool, simple idea. It's a really cool costing deal. It doesn't cost that much. Really cool thing you should have if you really care about your safety, which I think everybody should. Another thing is really cool is these Elite Mototech levers. This is an easy pull clutch lever. It has a bearing in here, and actually the fulcrum that they've designed into this lever makes even the hardest clutches on a Harley super easy. I just installed one on my 2018, which already had a really good feel. And it was like butter. You can one finger clutch it, and you don't really feel the clunkiness of the clutch now. It takes that whole weirdness out of it. And they also have matching levers for your front brake. You can get these in 2-finger sizes, 3 fingers, 1.5 fingers. Just about every color in the rainbow these guys do. I mean, they must go to the anodizer like 5 times a week. But Elite Mototech levers are really cool. And of course, the Bell Eliminator helmet. What I really like about this helmet is the fit. The style of it's really cool as well, but the way it fit my big American noggin, size XL, it felt really comfortable. It wasn't too cramped in the front. I like the look of the front of it. The shields selection are really great from Bell. The only thing I'm not really digging on it is these holes up front, but they also have a solution at Bell now for that. They have plugs. Also, this thing has on here the FreeCom 4 Plus from Cardo. This comm system I've been using for about a couple months now. It really rivals all the others on the market. It does really good job. It's super clear. It picks up your phone signal really quick and Bluetooth. I really do like the Cardo, I think, over just about anything else I've tested this year. Pretty much that's all I got for now, guys. If you want to see more new, cool performance Harley products, you can always check them out at vtwinvisionary.com or on Instagram at vtwinvisionary. Until next time, back to you, fools.
Right on, man. Thanks, Jeff. So, like you said, you want to keep up in the know of product info. Hit them up on social media, V-Twin Visionary on the internet as well. Athena Ransom is in the house. She's given us much more credit than we're due tonight. Sean Bourne says, digging the grips. I love those grips, man. I love those grips. It's so childish that like it makes me want to have those because I wear Vans tennis shoes.
I knew you were going to say that.
Right?
Totally knew that.
What do you got, Blondie?
Can we still call Athena Chicky?
I think so.
That's still,
Yeah.
Is that still, or is that like a Me Too? Like, can I
Hey,
answer us, Athena?
Well,
Can
I
we still
would-
call you Chicky?
I'm going to answer and say yeah, because I think she signed her name that way sometime. And just for the record, I wrote a story for this issue, and I used the word chick. So
Oh,
Hey, while we're on the subject of things that really piss you off, has
Me?
anyone else noticed that every time some asshole is like right on your rear wheel, like totally riding your ass down the road and throwing you the finger, that when they go by you, 9 out of 10 times, they have that friggin' coexist bumper sticker? Dude, it makes me want to yank them out of the car and beat them to death with their own bumper.
just
It's-
wait till you come out to Colorado.
you have anger management issues.
It's not
honey.
anger management. It's irony. I hate the irony of the world. Like, really, you're gonna ride around with a coexist bumper sticker on and be a prick.
Athena said,
Maybe.
please do.
Awesome.
There you go. Chicky,
Thanks
chicky,
for joining
chicky.
us, Chicky.
Hey, and this is a good time to remind everybody we're coming to you live from the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studios. Shop Talk every Thursday, 9 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. We get together and do a little program about the news. We invite some of our friends from the industry on when they pick up their phones. And it's brought to you by the goodwill of the people who share this program. So if you're on social media watching us right now, share. Do that thing.
Yes, please do. Awesome. We've got 10 minutes before we call Paul to Orleans.
Yeah.
What other news we got?
Do we want to at least talk about what Michael was coming on to talk about?
Go ahead.
I posted.
do it.
Well, I did post a link to the press release. For those people that may be curious, I may have jumped the gun a little bit, but Michael is actually coming on to talk about his new motorcycles as art exhibit that he's got slated for the 2019 Sturgis Rally at the Sturgis Buffalo Chip. The title is "What's the Skinny Motorcycling Without the Fat?" He's released the curator statement, which actually I really enjoyed reading. I'm not going to read it all to you because it is on the longer side, but there is a link to it in the comment section if you want to take a peek at it. And really, this year he hasn't set a whole lot of parameters on it. You know, no tire can't be bigger than this, and the primary can't be wider than that. He's really leaving it up to the builder's discretion for what they build. He's got a really impressive lineup
Dude,
of
how
builders
about it?
this year.
What-
He's going
what
to
a
have
list.
Billy Lane, Brian Batera, Brian Klock, our very own Chris Callan is on this list. Christian
That's not the
Sosa,
impressive part.
Cabana
The late
Dan,
Arlen Ness.
the late Arlen Ness, Dave Perowitz is on here.
Yeah.
Jack DeGazio is on here. Paul Yaffe. There's just Zach Ness is on here. There's a fantastic lineup of
It's
builders
a really
here.
diverse crowd too, man.
Yeah, I'm excited at the diversity because it's going to be anything from racers, cafe racers, and salt racers, all the way up to the long skinny chopper, I think.
And bay bikes, like
Yep, I'm excited.
Stuff for sure. Hey,
I'm
we
really
should say hi to
excited about it.
Clive. He's our first, not our first, but he's our first tonight international watcher. So he's in Cornwall, UK. So thanks for watching, Clive.
right on. Right on. It never ceases to amaze me when we turn this box on and get this show running. Like the reach that this has is incredible.
For sure.
This is one of the best things today.
Thanks, Ma. Ma said your ish is getting longer and
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah,
I know.
thanks a lot.
Your mother's good for reminding me of my shortcomings.
Well, there's only so much that's within our control. Unfortunately, we do not control the internet or the weather in Western Pennsylvania.
Comcast, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep saying it. All right, so I don't know what happened to Michael tonight. That's distressing.
He didn't think maybe that it was Mountain Time instead of Eastern Time, did he?
No,
Potentially.
I don't know, but
If not, we'll get him on again soon. He's a great chat.
Let's. You want to move on to the? I mean, we only got one more piece of news left.
yeah.
Or maybe you have more. I don't know. I only had one more piece of news that I sent over.
Well, we can go to this one. We can go to the one that you had in your
Okay.
sleeve.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah.
So for those of you who have been keeping up, steelworkers at Harley Davidson voted down their contract. And there were a lot of reasons why. If you go and, read this article and read through it, you'll get a lot of kind of their explanation. A lot of it has to be, a lot of it's just about, kind of not keeping temporary workers on and laying off other people that have been there for a long time. So seniority and that sort of stuff. And, union contracts are just a dicey thing. And I don't know enough about them to go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, it's going to be hard for them because they've got a lot of people at their factory that are, in the union, and I think it's going to be difficult. So
Yeah, to say the least.
So
Oh man, so there's a few other things in the news that we want to get to tonight. I'm not sure we're going to have the time right now, but there's a new program. And I'm not sure, is this a webisode? Is that what you call that?
I actually watched snippets of it today. Yeah, I would call it a webisode. It looks like it's just kind of like us. It's on Facebook, YouTube, that sort of thing. And it looks like he's trying to sell the product on Facebook Marketplace. And I believe Richard Rollins from Gas Monkey Garage is the producer of it.
Right on. So the show that we're talking about is called Flippin' Dirty Bird. It's a new concept from Mr. John Shope, and I'm going to bring up the website here real quick so you guys can see what we're looking at. It actually the bits of it that I watched too is kind of funny. Like John is a cut up, man. He really is. And in this capacity, I can imagine this is going to get wildly out of control.
Yeah, you should watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's all I'm gonna say.
I haven't seen the first episode. All I saw was a bunch of the B-roll. So this is from the actual Facebook page for the site, and give you guys an idea of what's going on with the show.
I created Dirty Bird Concepts and made a name for myself building one-of-a-kind bikes. In my line of work, I come across all kinds of things I want to buy. That's where this guy comes in. He's a walking encyclopedia.
340 numbers match and pistol grip 4-speed. Can it get any better?
And on this show, I'm going to take what we find, fix it up, and sell it all on Facebook Marketplace. I'm looking for people that share my passion, who want amazing rides that are priced right and fun to drive. Get ready for Flippin' Dirty Bird.
So check them out. Hit up the Facebook page and see what's going on with those guys. We're going to be posting a link to the first episode you can check out through Cycle Source Magazine's page, and we'll see what he does. Yeah, Tim Kern says, so he builds shit, then trashes it. I think he trashes it first. From what I was seeing, he takes somebody's stock motorcycle and beats the living hell out of it, and then takes it and does something cool out of it.
So
Yes.
Drew Woodford just said that 68 Charger belongs to his 13-year-old son.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost sacrilegious, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
So social media is rocking, but don't forget, you guys can be part of the conversation instead of leaving us up here to twiddle our thumbs and look at our phone when we're supposed to be on the show.
I'm not looking at my phone. My phone's dead. I'm looking at my laptop.
Okay, so I'm going to read this comment. I in no way, shape, or form agree, or I have no
here we
opinion
go.
on this. I'm just going to read it. Dusty Pine, in person, Shope is one of the nicest guys I have ever met. On TV and the internet, he's an ass. Sad but true. No, he is a good guy in person. He really is.
He helped us out a ton this year with the the Twisted T bike that you guys saw us building. Good, dude. So
I
yeah.
haven't written any tickets this week, by the way. Somebody asked how many tickets I've written with this mustache. Not a one. And I have no idea where John is. I love Chips. That was such a fun
Right?
show.
I love Chips
I knew
too.
right away what he was talking about too. I was like, "That's a Chips reference."
Mm-hmm. Ponch and John.
Yeah.
Good stuff. That might have been where my motorcycle obsession started, perhaps.
Oh,
I watched a lot of TV when I was a kid.
7 Mary 3.
It's fun stuff.
I love that everybody only remembers Ponch's name. The other
No,
one's always
Ponch and
just
John.
Oh, that's right, Ponch and John.
Yeah. Ponch was obviously, and I can't
Eric
remember. What is it?
Estrada?
Ponchereblo or something? What the hell is his first name?
Poncherello.
Poncherello. There we
Yeah,
go.
John Poncherello.
No.
No, not John Poncherello.
No,
it's
Ponch
something else.
was Eric Estrada.
Yeah,
Eric,
but Poncherello was his last name.
Oh,
Oh, can you give us some information on how to win the Twisted T bike?
Yes, I can. As a matter of fact, it's
Please do.
it's as simple as I'm actually going to take you guys and show you while we're talking. I'm going to bring it up right here. TwistedT.com. Just like this. You put in your month, day, and year. This is embarrassing.
What's going on?
you're gonna be 50 in 2020. That's awesome.
I know.
That's so cool.
And there you go. Learn how you can
There's the
upgrade
bike.
your ride with Twisted T. All you have to do is fill out this short official sheet, and it puts you in. There's no charge. You don't have to buy any Twisted T. You don't have to buy a cycle source even. And you are automatically entered to win and take one of these motorcycles.
Nice. So how fun was it, like unveiling that bike down in Daytona?
Dude, unveiling it was a blast because Billy from Twisted T goes way out of his way to make sure that we're on like all the big stages, and you know we got to do all that, and it was so awesome. But let me tell you what the real trip was. When I got home, we finally got all the little gremlins chased away and got the motorcycle out on the road, and it was a blast. That bike is so much fun to ride. It was like almost one of the first times that I rode a Softail, because it's been so long since I've rode a Softail, like an early Evo Softail,
Sure.
Frank Poncherello, Lance Baxter. We
Yeah,
should send him
there we
something
go.
for helping us out.
I'm going to post a link to the Twisted T Upgrade Your Bike in the comment section. If
There you
anybody
go.
wants to go click on that, they'll be able to do that and get their chance to win.
Nice.
And with that,
Let's do
I think we're
do Paul. You guys
yeah.
ready? You guys ready for that? Paul d'Orleans.
actually I need 1 minute on that. We're going to take care of one more piece of business for the
I just
magazine.
emailed you his number.
Okay.
You should have
Until we get up with this, I have some cool stuff to bring to you guys. This is some stuff from Zippers, but there's some other stuff in it, so stick with us.
Howdy folks, Dan Fitzmaurice here at Zippers Performance. We're at the AMRA Nationals in Rockingham, North Carolina. Brought our display here so you can see some of the performance parts that we manufacture at Zippers. And in addition to that, we brought some street bikes so you can see how some of these parts perform once they're set up for racing. This Indian Scout has got a Zippers intake and muffler system that generates great power. Motorcycle is very quick, runs in the 11s, just a plain Indian Scout, no engine parts removed from it. Over here we've got our M8. This is a Muscle 124. This engine's making just about 150 horsepower, and it's a ball to ride, very fast. And this one over here is street bike setup, Sportster, and it's got the Hammer 88 cubic inch kit in it that we manufacture. And again, these can take a street bike, set these things up with this stuff, go out racing, have fun, enjoy yourself. It's a lot of fun. If you'd like to participate in something like that, not sure how to get started, why don't you hit us at zippersperformance.com, because we can help you get dialed in and get you set up.
like I said, the great thing about this, other than the fact that Danny and the whole crew at Zippers make some killer products, and like for me personally, I wouldn't have a fuel injected motorcycle again without their auto tune system. But did you notice there that they said that they were at an AMRA race? So that's all Harley drag racing coming back. So I apologize for this, but I kind of stopped, following any kind of Harley racing when HDRA fell apart, back with after Spevco took it over and stuff. And I didn't even know this was going on, man. So I'm finding little bits about this now, and I'm hoping to get some guys from this on so we can give them some promotion, because if there's still Harley races going on, it's all Harley, like street shootouts and stuff. I want to know more about it. I want to let you guys know about it so that there's more to do than just the rush of flat track racing. Not that there's anything wrong with flat track racing, but a good day at the drag strip is always a blast for me.
For sure. Well, yeah, my buddy Joe Glaze, he's all in. He just bought like a 50-foot RV toy hauler deal that he's going for it. He's got a V-Rod Destroyer and an FXR that was actually in Cycle Source that he races, and he races out at Bandamere and then actually all over the country now. So he loves it, and he's like a working dude, but loves doing it. So
why don't we try to get Paul on, Ken? You can tell everybody about him as we dial
Yeah, you
him
bet.
up.
Yeah, so we're gonna have Paul d'Orleans on. We had him on previously to talk about the Vintagent, but we're actually having him on because he is curating the Electric Revolution exhibit at the Peterson in LA, the Peterson Automotive Museum. If you've never been to the Peterson, it is well worth going to. But we're going to specifically talk to him about the Electric Revolution. It just opened April 6th, and we're going to have some of the bikes showing while we've got him on the phone. He is an authority in electric motorcycles, and we talk about it a lot here. Some people are probably sick of it, but yeah, should be really fun to talk to him about it.
All right.
Hello, it's Paul.
Hey, Paul, how are you? You're live on Shop Talk.
All right.
Sorry,
How's things?
We're having a little trouble tonight. I'm sorry we're off tick a little.
That's okay. Gave me a chance to finish my dinner.
Right on.
There you go.
So big stuff going on, right?
Oh my gosh. Yep, it's pretty big. It's funny, after we talked about the Custom Revolution exhibit a while back, and when the exhibit was coming to a close, we were talking with the Peterson about what's next, and we originally thought about doing an exhibition of Hollywood-based motorcycles, bikes that have been in films, because they were about to do a big exhibit of cars that were Hollywood cars. And around November, they came back to us and said, we have no budget. So can we, you spent all our money last year on Custom Revolution, and because they initially gave us a budget of about $40,000, and apparently we doubled it from bringing all these bikes from abroad. But so they said, can we just rejigger Custom Revolution for another year? And I said, well, maybe. And my partner in the Motorcycle Arts Foundation, Sasha Cherevkov, said, hey, why don't we make it Electric Revolution? Electric is going big right now. And I thought, wow, that's genius,
And boy, I'll tell you what, the timing, you couldn't have planned this out better, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked that there's never even been like no weekend show, no anything.
Yeah. No
trade show about electric motorcycles, nothing. And we're seeing hundreds of new shops opening up. I mean, it's like we haven't seen since like 1901 in the United States. It's just crazy. It seems like there's a new business opening every week. Yeah.
yeah. It seems like there's a new electric motorcycle every week. Like literally every week in my feed, I see something about some new electric motorcycle that I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. And the wild thing is, there isn't not much are being sold. I think Zero sold about 750 bikes last year, and they're ostensibly the biggest electric manufacturer in the United States for now. But on the other hand, there are 3 million electric bikes in China right now. So, it's just a matter of time. 3 million. I'm including scooters in that. But yeah, they have 3 million electric, bigger than a bicycle, two-wheelers running around in China right now. Wow. So we're way behind the curve, and all the doubting Thomases who say this is never going to work, it's never going to work. It's like you obviously haven't been to China, because if you stand on the street of Shanghai, it's incredible. It's quiet, the air doesn't stink, and there's 20,000 electric scooters whizzing around, and three-wheelers and delivery trucks and all this crazy infrastructure that's totally electric. It's kind of inspiring.
So, Paul, social media is already abuzz with people that want to ask you questions. One of the first ones is Tim Kearns is asking your thoughts on hydrogen or natural gas power.
I don't have any skin in the game on how we figure out cleaner transportation solutions. I think anything is possible. I've heard of some really interesting hybrid hydrogen electric engines recently. I've seen external combustion engines, like a super high-tech steam engine, basically. There's a company, I think, what's it called, the Cyclone motor? It's like a 100 horsepower motor that's like the size of a 2-gallon ice cream container.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting technology out there that needs to be explored and developed, and unfortunately a lot of it's not going to be profitable for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to see. We managed to convince Harley Davidson, God bless them, to underwrite this exhibit because they got to showcase 3 of their electric prototypes, a live wire, an electric mountain bike, and an electric mini bike. And, fingers crossed, boys. There's a lot at stake right now.
Now, Ken and I were having some pretty lengthy discussions in the pre-show on this, on the mountain bike from Harley Davidson, because both the mountain bike and the scooter, I'm really curious about those. I'm really curious how much that's going to do as far as a bridge between non-riders and riders and like entry level. And if that's really their thinking, or if I'm just an old bike guy and I don't even understand the platform.
Well, I think, so electric mountain bikes right now are the biggest selling section of off-road bicycles, right? So regular mountain bikes have been totally overtaken by electric assist mountain bikes. So Harley has... No, I'm not kidding you. So Harley has really nailed it on that one. That was like kind of a no-brainer. If you're going to build a electric bicycle, build an electric mountain bike, because they are selling like hotcakes in the United States right now. And in my opinion, that electric mini bike is a really great idea. That's the bike that everybody's excited about, because they're looking at the live wire, to be honest, and they're saying, I am not paying $38,000 for that. And they're looking at the mini bike and saying, hey, that looks like fun. And those are just their 2 like gut level responses. And you really want that latter response, like, oh, that looks like fun. And it's going to take a while before people have that response to bigger electric motorcycles.
Well, and one of the things right off the bat that I have to say too is not just with Harley Davidson, but I mean this is kind of the thought process that's indicative of the Harley core, is nobody really rushes for the first of anything. We've always been a community that waits to see how it goes and what comes up next and what the changes are, and I think that that's especially so with something as completely different as this.
Yeah.
I think for the whole market, I think there's a bunch of people watching this that are going to go, okay, well, you see the comments already on our social media feed tonight. People are looking for longer distance. They're looking for quicker charge times. They're looking for infrastructure to back all of this up.
Well, there is already an infrastructure worldwide. It's called the electrical grid.
Yeah.
So that's kind of not an issue. I think comparing, expecting to replace your, Dynaglide or your whatever, your touring rig with an electric bike, that ain't going to happen for a while. There is a company, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name right now, that does make basically it looks like a Harley or Victory or whatever touring rig, and they use the saddlebags and all that extra capacity for batteries, and so they've got like major range. And Harley could do that tomorrow.
Really?
They could if you wanted to give up some of your saddlebag capacity and they've already got a 1,100-pound motorcycle that's got everything on it. It's like, hey man, you could make an 1,100-pound motorcycle that would have a 400-mile range, and an hour charging time, which is, frankly, you want to get off your bike after 400 miles.
Yeah.
So that is possible today. I don't think people would do it, though. I don't think people would buy the traditional Harley, customer would do that.
Agreed.
But here's the bigger question, though. Harley's not looking at their traditional customer. I mean, they're going to continue making big V twins as long as they can, but they need new customers. I mean, they can't grow, they can't thrive without new customers. So they have to kind of be split brain about it, go after a completely new segment on the one hand and cater to their traditional segment on the other. And that's tough. I don't envy their position.
Yeah, it is. I totally agree with you. And I think that the barrier to entry is a lot lower with something like a scooter, right? When somebody sees that electric scooter, they're like, oh, that looks like something fun that I could ride to class, that I could go and, go around town on or whatever, go and get groceries. And I think that's where, for me, that's where the real crossover happens, because regardless of whether it's electric or a combustion, people are getting in the wind. And that's really the key, right? Because every time, I get on a bike, I get that feeling, I get that feeling of like that freedom. But I wonder, like some of the bikes in the exhibit, like, I don't know, like the Racer X, for instance, like that's like an art project.
Oh,
right?
totally.
I mean, yeah, totally. And it's fascinating. Like you look at it and you're like, what? And then you kind of read the tech on it and this makes sense. Like this is exactly what he was trying to do,
Right.
And do you have a little bit information that you can kind of share with people on that bike?
Sure.
It's like it's the one that looks like an X, Chris. I can't even describe it.
No, I see it. I'll bring it up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like mirrored. Which tennis shoe brand is this? Not the Nike Swoosh. There's the other one.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's two. Reebok. Sorry, it was like two Reebok reversed X's in carbon fiber sandwiched together. It's pretty awesome, and it's a piece of sculpture. It works. You can ride it, but it was never intended as a vision of the future. It's just kind of riffing on what's possible. So Mark Atkinson is a Bonneville guy. He lives in Utah. He lives near Salt Lake, and he builds Bonneville cars and motorcycles. So he knows what he's doing. And we asked him. He had the BMW Alpha in our Custom Revolution exhibit, which was that crazy shark-like streamlined BMW kind of dragster. Yeah, crazy bike. Beautiful. He had taken a 3D rendering by a Turkish designer who never intended to build it. It was just vaporware. And he said, wow, this is super cool. I'm going to make it. And he tried for months to reach this designer. His name is Doric Erdem. And, he completely ignored him. So he just went ahead and built the thing. And when he was 90% done, he started sending pictures to this designer. And he was like, oh, my God, you are actually building my fantasy that I just drew up on my computer. Anyway, so he's capable of doing anything. And we asked him in basically December. I said, hey, you got an electric bike you want to show because we're switching up our exhibit. And he says, no, but I drew this sketch last month and I want to build it. So I'm not even 100% sure how it works. I've seen on his Instagram so they're two hubless wheels and they're connected by 4 really curious joints. And those joints are electrically operated with servo motors that are connected to the handlebars. The handlebars are actually rigidly fixed to the carbon fiber X.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's pretty out there.
Well, and his thing was he said, why is everybody building electric motorcycles that look like combustion motorcycles? I'm going to build something that doesn't have anything, that doesn't resemble anything except for 2 wheels, like a regular motorcycle. And that's what he did. It's pretty fascinating,
It's kind of similar. We have also Joey Reuter's Moto Undone, which looks like a mirrored cuboid. I mean, there's no features on it at all. It's like a big polished stainless rectangle that's 6 inches wide. It has handlebars. It has foot pegs. Has a tiny little divot for your butt, and that's it, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you knocked the obelisk over from 2001 and wrote it.
Sure. Well, and what was interesting too is there were a bunch of bikes in there as well that are like set for production, or that's kind of their intention, like the tar form.
Yep.
Which
yeah, those guys.
That's a fascinating thing because it's got all these sensors on it of where vehicles are, so you can tell. It's bizarre. Like it's not what I would expect from a bike.
It looks a lot. It looks like it came from the set of The Day the Earth Stood Still or something. It's got a great kind of retro futuristic design, and the bodywork is 3D printed from some biodegradable like flax plastic.
Corn starch, I think. Yeah.
Exact. And they're actually experimenting with like fungus resin, like mushroom. I'm not kidding. Like mushroom carbon fiber tip for the bodywork, because they're looking for 100%. Well, not 100%, but like a 90% recyclable, biodegradable motorcycle, which is really, hey, let's face it, we got to figure out what to do with our junk.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of that. That's happening these days. That's just beyond anything that any of us could have imagined, right, Chris?
Yep.
And I think what I like about the tar form is they're a perfect representative of the little shops that are popping up all over the world right now, that are coming up with an innovative design, and they're just making a go of it. And part of the reason they can do that, and you can't do that with an internal combustion engine, is you're not subject to all the legislation. Basically, if your electric motorcycle looks like it falls under a 250cc capacity equivalent, you don't have to have ABS, which costs about $600,000 a license from Bosch. You don't have to have any environmental testing. You just license the thing. It's ready to go. There's zero barrier to entry, and a lot of smart kids realized that, and they started designing motorcycles. And that is the super fun, exciting segment. The bigger bikes, the Lightnings, the Energicas, the Harley Livewires, they've got to homologate on the standard platform. They have to have ABS. Pretty soon they'll have traction control, but they don't have to do any environmental testing, obviously, which saves a huge amount of money. I mean, they're way ahead of the game in that regard.
So let's talk about this bike called the Crapshoot.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's an awesome motorcycle. Because see, like, I believe the same thing. Internal combustion battery or wind-up rubber band. If you don't build a motorcycle that's cool and fun, then it kind of, for me, it loses half of it. This looks fun. This looks fun.
It is fun, and that's one of the carryovers from Custom Revolution. It's based on an Alta electric bike built in San Francisco. Unfortunately, they went out of business last year, but they decided to make a little prototype that was not really a prototype, but a show bike that was based on a 60s dragster. And, the founder of Alter, Derek Dorstein, his uncle is an AMA Hall of Fame flat track rider. Derek was a speedway rider. We shared a warehouse in the 1980s, building cafe racers. He's a super old school motorcycle enthusiast, so it's no surprise that he was gung-ho to build kind of a retro electric dragster. It's a pretty cool little bike.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so what do you think is next? I mean, what do you think is going to happen with this revolution? I mean, that's that's the question, right?
I mean, I'm a historian, so I look at what worked in the past, and I'm frankly thinking Japanese invasion in the late 1959 to 68, where the Japanese provided small, fun motorcycles. They campaigned them as being sort of zero barrier to entry, zero fear factor, zero intimidation. anybody could get on a Honda 90 and go. Well, electric bikes, it doesn't matter what the capacity is. You can have a 200 horsepower Lightning. You can just get on it and twist the throttle and you're off. You know, you don't have to learn how to shift and all that stuff. You know, it's as simple as can be. And they're hugely fun. And this is going to be the selling point when that these things are wicked fun and quick. That's going to be the entry point, and it's going to be small bikes. It's got to be.
Interesting. So not something like the Livewire.
Well, at that price point, you know, they're not going to sell many, and they know it. You know, but I don't think that's the point. I think
I think Harley's
they
going
are
to
staking a
respond.
claim.
I think Harley's going to respond in pretty quick fashion, both with the technology behind their batteries and that price point. I will bet you if there's not already something that's ready to break, that it's going to be real quick, that they're going to respond to that.
Yeah, and they'd be biding their time. I mean, I really can't guess. That they were pretty tight-lipped about it at our panel discussion at the opening of Electric Revolution, but which is understandable. But you know, everybody, all the manufacturers I talked to, from Cake to Energica to who else was I talking to? Anyway, I talked to several manufacturers there, all looking at new models that are lightweight, lower priced, you know, decent range and fun. And that is the number one factor. Can we make it fun? Can we make it affordable?
Yeah. And I think how do you think that influencers are going to be? I mean, that's like the word of the day. Do you think influencers are going to be the ones that are going to get people on those bikes specifically? I'm not talking about just getting on motorcycles, but getting on electric motorcycles. You know, is it going to be like back in the day, you know, when people saw Easy Riders and were like, oh, I've got to have a chopper, you know? Or how do you think it's going to, you know, what's going to
you're baiting me.
happen?
You're baiting me tonight, aren't you, Ken?
I am a little bit.
Well, there's lots to say about that. In terms of your question about influencers, there will come a point in the very near future where, you know, a few people are going to get handed electric bikes and saying, you know, get on this, take pictures for Instagram. You know, it's going to happen. And actually, I am planning to do, you know, I organized an event called Wheels and Waves California in Cayucas for a couple of years, which was getting, you know, kind of industry folks together for a fun weekend ride. And I'm thinking about doing it with all electric stuff now, you know, just as an opportunity to get cool people on the back of electric bikes. That will be provided by the companies.
Yeah.
always scamming, but you know, but it has to happen. You know, you have to get people on these things, and you know, it's interesting. I got some feedback from a guy who races competitively on his first time on the Energica, the new electric Grand Prix series that Dorna is putting out next year is going to be Energica bikes. Anyway, this professional racer test rode one of the Energicas. He says, you know what, I feel like this is something I've been waiting for and didn't even know it, which was just the pure Feeling of a hand pushing you down the road and nothing else. No other distractions, just like pure distilled essence of motorcycling, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, because I think in the back of our head, like the relationship to flying is what we're always thinking about, right?
Well, and I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things to do if I'm in the mountains is if I'm at the top of a 20-mile descent, I cut my motor off, man, and I just glide down. I love it.
I broke a belt in Death Valley doing that. Kiwi Mike.
Did you go from Dante's Peak all the way down?
Yes, I did. And Kiwi Mike will never let me live that down.
Only because he rescued you on a 1947 Indian.
Rode my wife to safety when my Harley broke down on his Indian. Do you know what my life has been like?
Oh, come on. At least it was an antique Indian.
Yeah, right. So we have pictures here of Lightning's Pikes Peak bike. This is one of the bikes in the exhibit?
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Dude, that is so badass.
So, 2013, Lightning builds the fastest production motorcycle in the world it's American and it's electric. And I don't know why everybody in the United States, every motorcycle in the United States doesn't know this. It's still true. The fastest production motorcycle in the world is American. And it's electric, and it's the Lightning LS219. And they backed up their claim by kicking everybody's butt at Pikes Peak in 2013. I mean, it's a tiny little company in San Jose.
Yeah.
And, you know, they are awesome. They're giants.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have Richard on in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
So,
Richard's great.
super
He spoke at our panel discussion at the opening, and it was very interesting to hear him talk. You know, they're just debuting their Strike model, which is, I think it's 14 grand, and you know, still do 150 miles an hour.
Yeah,
like, awesome, beautiful,
so fun.
Yeah, I will give it that. I mean, there's quite a few of these bikes out now that from the aesthetics alone, you know, like I really really like some of this stuff, and I think someday there might be a place for it in my head too. I rode my first electric bicycle just a few weeks ago at one of the local dealers, and man, that changed my mind about that in a hurry because
you're right.
I did 2 pedals and I was going uphill on it.
Yep.
I was a fan.
Yeah, exactly. And you and every mountain biker in the country, right?
Yeah,
They're
buddy.
like, why am I slogging up these big mountains when I could have a little bit of help? Yeah.
Well, and
So
last
cool.
year at Daytona, so a little over a year ago, I got to ride the Alta on the short track next to the Daytona Speedway, and they had a pro out there riding that Alta, and dude, it was. And so they put him next to, gosh, I can't remember who it was, another pro flat track racer, and there was no way he could keep up on a combustion bike. It was just not even, it wasn't even possible. Like he had this thing dialed in, and just the sound of it and everything. And then I got on it and it was frightening. it was so
sketchy.
Quick and I mean, but it was a lot of fun. So.
Well, that brings up the number one virtue of electric motorcycles, which is an electric motor has 100% of its power available at no revs, at any rev, flipping a switch and away it goes. And the reason electric motorcycles have taken this long to be like manageable and not just golf cart performance or crazy light switch performances, you know, Tesla developed sophisticated electronic controllers that could handle the for one thing and finesse it so that it felt organic, you know, so when you hit your accelerator, you twisted the throttle, you weren't faced with just the awesome power of an instant, you know, 50 or 200 horsepower, because you just sit there spinning your wheels, you know. So that's been one of the hardest things. So the last 10 years, so the Mission 1 that's in the exhibit was the first like sophisticated controller motorcycle that could do 150 miles an hour. And that came out in 2009. So in the last 10 years, everyone has been using that identical software for their bikes. And that's why we've only seen like more elegant, more rideable electric motorcycles, because they have all their power available all the time. So the reason the Lightning won Pikes Peak is because they could just nail it in the corner and you get whopping power.
Yeah,
you didn't have to wait for it to catch up.
No downshifting, none of that stuff. Yeah.
And no problems with thinning air at 14,000 feet. You know, there's that advantage too.
Yeah.
So listen, tell us about the exhibit itself. Like, what are the details? How do people get information? How long's it running?
Yeah, I think you could either go to my website, thevintagent.com, and there's a banner on the top of the web page, and there's an Electric Revolution button, and you can click on that. It shows all the bikes in the exhibit. It also has a link to get tickets to the Peterson Museum. The exhibit is at the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. It's right across the street from LA County Museum and the tar pits. It's a beautiful museum if you've never been there. It's absolutely spectacular. And I'm trying to remember how much entry is to the Peterson. I think it's $15 or $20.
Yeah, I think it's 15. Yeah.
It's 15, yeah. And it's for the whole museum. So you get to see whatever amazing shows they're having. Yeah. you get to see whatever amazing shows they have. And they usually got 4 shows up at once. And the Electric Revolution is upstairs, and you'll see 23 bikes up there. And there's plaques to explain things. And we haven't printed up the catalog yet, but we will in the next 2 months have catalogs available too, which will have a little bit more of the backstory. You get some of the backstory on our website as well.
That's great.
Right on.
So I've put links
I
to.
strongly encourage anybody to go. I went there last year on my way to the Quail, I think, and got to check out the Custom Revolution, and they just happened to have a Porsche display going on as well, and it was just, the whole thing is amazing. So well worth it, and thank you so much for coming on, Paul.
Well, you're most welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Absolutely.
always great to have you on.
No, I
and
can
give us
imagine,
a little
right-
bit of education.
Right
you
in
know?
all this craziness, us calling up saying, "Hey, can you get us a bunch of pictures and like you come on the show real quick and talk about all this?"
Well, luckily the show's open. Our big crunch was last week because our
Right.
opening was 1 week ago tonight. So that's passed, and we're all mopping the sweat from our brows. And now we get to settle in and finish up the details, like making a catalog.
Awesome.
Well, I'll tell you, it's like I said at the beginning, what incredible timing, because as we're doing all of our social media for the show, this segment, that segment, anytime we hit on anything with electric motorcycles right now, for whatever consumers are out there actually buying, the interest is off the hook. The amount of traffic it's getting is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think people are really ready for it. The timing was good.
For sure.
So the revolution is on.
Yep. Once again.
All right, man. Well, listen, thanks again. I really
Great
appreciate
chatting.
it. And we
Yeah,
hope to
thanks
have
a
you
lot,
on
Paul.
again real soon.
Cool. No problem.
Thanks.
Take
Thanks,
care.
man.
All right. Bye-bye.
So for those of you that are interested, I did post links to both the Peterson Museum and the Vintage Inn. You can find information on Paul d'Orleans or the Peterson Museum right there, just a click away.
You should definitely check out the Vintage Inn, too. That
Dude.
cat has got
Dude,
mad.
that website is ridiculous. Yeah, it's so great.
Kurt Green just joined us. Hi, Kurt.
Okay, so
How are
wait
you
a minute.
tonight?
More importantly than that, I just got a message from Mike Lichter that says, "Yikes! What call? I'm at Handbuilt.
Oh,
You said you would like to do something on Shop Talk, but you never said it was actually going to happen or when."
So great.
well,
Yeah, that makes sense. He's at Handbuilt. He's in Austin, the Coda.
awesome.
So yeah,
Okay,
it
so
wasn't
no
Mountain,
offense, but-
Mountain Time or Eastern.
We suck.
It was
Just gonna
just,
say
it
it,
was
we
just
suck.
not happening.
Okay,
It
well,
wasn't meant to be.
it is 10:35, and we do have a little treat for you guys before we get to our next guest. If I can bring it up real quick, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing here. So if you've heard of this Harley-Davidson Battle of the Kings, it's an international show where Harley dealers, I think 230 of them from all over the world, have agreed to build a custom motorcycle off the Harley-Davidson platform using a local trade school. And after that, the voting is opened up to the public. So being that we have 14 Harley dealers within a 100-mile radius of my house, I went to our local dealer and I asked them if they would kindly come on to the show and help us talk about this. So the good people from Steel City Harley Davidson agreed to come on tonight and give us a little insight. So let me try to call Mr. Donnie right now from Steel City.
Hello.
Hey, Donnie, what's up, man? You're live on Shop Talk.
No, how you doing, buddy?
Good. So
Thanks for having me on.
thanks for coming on with us tonight.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Donnie, for our listeners and people that might not have heard about this, because this is something, I think this is a really cool thing. You know, international, all Harley dealers, 230 all around are building for this competition, but I haven't really seen a lot of media on it, and that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to get you guys on here and talk about this. So, tell our listeners about the program.
Well, how the program works is, obviously Harley created it, and basically it allows, local Harley dealers to work with local trade schools on a global competition to, basically build the coolest custom Harleys in the world. And, for the dealerships out there, the local dealerships, this is a competition that, obviously it's not mandatory. So it's something that, the local dealers, want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are a few rules with it, that comes with it, but, it's basically, Harley kind of wants to see, look, we've got all these technicians out there, we've got all these people in these dealerships, and most of them have a lot of experience and has been in it for a while. Let's give them the opportunity, to pick, whether it be a Sportster or a Softail or Touring. Let's have them pick and let's see what they can do. Let's see what they build and what's cool, And I think what Harley does is, they look at these bikes from the dealerships that are in this competition. And, I think they feed off of these bikes, they find certain things, because, even with our bike, we there were some pictures that, we have taken throughout the process. And, one of the pictures, a few of the pictures, you'll see, one of my technicians actually welding. So we've actually fabricated parts for this motorcycle that you cannot buy.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do stuff like that and you enter a competition and Harley sees these pictures, they look at them and they're like, you know what? That's a dang good idea. That looks really good,
right.
And they kind of feed off of that. But it's really exciting, being it is a global competition, they have to narrow down the districts. So, me being a Steel City in our district, we have 15 dealerships in our district. So we're basically competing against 15 dealerships. And, and so on and so on with all different districts, And it is, the voting starts April 15th. So it is an online voting at harleydavidson.com. And so, people go on there and they'll vote. And on top of that, we have our bike is displayed right now at our dealership. But, we'll travel the bike around, to different locations, for people to check it out. And the school that we decide to, to involve in this build is the Western Area Technical School that's in Kingsburg.
Okay.
And so they've actually done the paint on this motorcycle for us.
Oh, right.
And I have to say they've done a really good job, I met with a teacher and a student, and they're really excited about this, just to be involved in it, So it's really an exciting thing. We entered it in 2015. That was our last time that we entered it. And we actually won first place in the district with that build. So that's what, we're competitive. So we're kind of looking for that, that first place, But we decided to go with a 1200 iron Sportster because our vision, which I say our vision is it's a collaborated idea. We that from the technicians to service riders to people in the dealership. It's kind of like what do we want to build? What kind of idea do we want to go with? So we decided to go with the 1200 and make it sort of a cafe racer dirt track mix.
Yeah.
Something a little different.
It's a sharp bike. It is.
Oh man. It was so fun doing it. I'm really excited about it.
Well, one of the questions that we have here, I have to post from social media is, are they true customs? This comes in from Tim Kearns. Are they true customs, or do you have to build out of the HD catalog? Like, are you guys are you encouraged to hand fabricate, or do you have a parts budget? Like, what are the rest of the rules that go along with that?
Well, the parts budget rule is okay. Well, to start from the beginning, one of the rules Harley has is you're allowed to invest 50% of the MSRP. So if the bike was $12,000 MSRP, you're allowed to invest $6,000 more into the motorcycle, right? So you do have a budget you have to work with, but it's not mandatory to go with all Harley parts. You can throw some aftermarket. Yeah, you can throw some aftermarket parts in there. There's no rules saying that you cannot fabricate, so you are allowed to fabricate. I have looked at some pictures, even out of the United States. And you can tell, you'll see some with side carts on them. You'll see some with, old beer drums on them. And so, yeah, it's not strictly Harley parts, so they really give you a good full range on building this bike. And that's another cool thing, they allow you to do that.
I'm going through some of the previous Kings from the website, and the diversity. Like, this is obviously, all of these were Sportster based, but some crazy diversity. Everything from like full blown stretch bagger Sportsters to little like Sportster Sport Glide kind of Sportsters.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat how much different influences in this thing today, because it wasn't too long ago, you'd had 4 or 5 different designs that you would do a Sportster out of. This is pretty awesome.
Well, keep in mind too, it's not only, I think, 200 dealers internationally, but it's 30 different countries too. So I would imagine that's where you get a good bit of your diversity from.
Yeah, and you know what? And not only for us building the bike that we have, I think I know myself, and I assume most people, when they get on, the website and they start looking at the other builds, whether it be previous builds or current builds, it's really cool to see what everyone has came up with, because there can be so many different, builds and unique builds. It's really a cool thing to just even check out. I mean, it really is.
Well, somebody's asking us right now, Kurt Green actually, is there a reason that Harley didn't promote this on a bigger scale? It's a really good idea and a positive spin with the use of local trade schools. Harley does want everybody to know this is going on, but was there part of a low key part of this, or was it just that there's so much news going on with all the rest of the stuff from Harley Davidson right now that this is kind of on the side?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. I know that, if you're signed up, obviously, if you have, like, I'm signed up with HarleyDavidson.com, so, you'll get email blasts, and, and if you go through your email blast, and a lot of times you'll see that stuff. But on top of that, even the dealers, right? They have to do a lot of work, and we're fresh into this, because like I said, the voting doesn't start till April 15th. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to see and hear a lot of more advertisement in it now, being that, it's really not open until November. So it's pretty much, it's all summer, almost the winter, before it's really over. So I think he's going to see a lot more advertisement and promotion on this. He really is. That's what I feel.
Well, let's talk about you for a minute, Donnie. How'd you get started with Harley Davidson?
Well, I've been in the industry for 17 years, and before I got in this industry, I was a welder fabricator, and I used to actually armor military Humvees and residential vehicles, and I'd stretch anything from Suburbans to Mercedes, and that was just kind of my thing since high school, and on up to adulthood. Well, I've always rode. I mean, the first motorcycle I was on was I was 7 years old. So, when I first got into fabrication, I was 15. So I went on for a while. I'm 45 now, but so I went on for a while doing that, and then my passion has always been being in this industry. And eventually I just pulled the trigger and said, you know what, I'm going to go down to MMI and I'm going to get my certificate, and I'm going to get in this industry. And I did, and I just love it. And I've been at Steel City for 4 years, but like I said, 17 years, I'm still going, and I'll be retired from this. I really do love it. I love the people, the camaraderie. I love everything about it.
So
everything.
When you say that you guys worked with a local trade school, what was the average age of the people that you were working with from the school?
Every one of them were high school students.
No kidding.
Yes, sir.
How good was that, man? How good was that?
You know what? I mean, I get goosebumps right now just talking to you about it, because I just remember walking into that class, and, I called the teacher and I said, you know what? I said, I'd like to meet with you. I got something going on with Harley. And he said, okay. So I come on in, and I remember walking in and talking to him. And then he pulled all the students over there, and we both explained, what was doing. And we'd like to involve them into this competition. And I mean, their faces just lit up. They were so excited about it, because at a Votech school, something like that, honestly, they mainly work on, wrecked vehicles and stuff like that. They don't really get the opportunity to do any kind of custom work, especially on motorcycles. So, I mean, they were so excited, and I was excited to bring that to them. I actually went today and talked to the teacher, and he thanked me again. He said, man, it's been the best thing that's probably came in this place, us working with you and doing this. So it's been great.
Well, Donnie, listen, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, man, and waiting up for us. I know we were a little bit late, and you can check out Donnie and everybody else from Steel City Harley Davidson. Great people. Steel City Harley. Harley.com, Harley-Davidson.com.
Yes, SteelCityHarley.com.
Check them out. Go see Lisa, Pokey, the whole bunch there. We're gonna keep our eye on. We already got our vote. So
I appreciate it.
Get out there. We're gonna be posting the link for Harley-Davidson.com for the Battle of the Kings. Watch for this. Get out and vote. I'm putting a challenge out to anyone else from the dealerships that are watching this program. If you want to be on this show, so show some pictures of your bike and promote for your shop. Come on, do it like Donnie did.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys letting me, join you guys. I really do.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks for coming on. We'll catch up with you again real soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's
Alrighty.
cool.
So
I was actually really interested to hear that they are able to use things other than Harley parts. That's great. They can fabricate their own parts. It really deserves a lot more attention. I did post a link to that website in the comments section for anybody that wants to check it out. It is there. Let Harley know that you dig it and you want to see more of it.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. So Michael Lichter is actually waiting for us, in spite of the fact that we gorillaed him. So
wow.
Let's get him on quick before he changes his mind.
Yeah, for sure.
He's in Handle.
Hello.
Michael, can I start off by saying I'm sorry?
Okay. Were we supposed to be scheduling to do something today?
We were supposed to come on Shop Talk. We're actually live right now.
Are we?
We were talking
You
about.
just forgot to tell me we were going to do it.
So
that's okay. I'm going to party and have a few drinks in me and overlooking Austin, and everything's great.
So tell us about Hand Built. Since we've gorillaed you already, we're going to take advantage, and you're going to be our on the spot reporter.
Oh yeah, right. On the spot reporter. Well, I got set up. Living in Colorado, you deal with what goes on, which meant a 24-hour delay getting out of Denver because of frigging snowstorm in April. Can you imagine?
Yeah, right. It's crazy right now.
It was brutal.
They closed the airport.
Yeah.
Ken, are you on too?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it was crazy
Ken.
Yesterday.
It was
like
crazy.
snowpocalypse. Yeah.
But, Sean and I were talking about it, and the way I figure it is people live out of fear. 30 years ago, this didn't happen. You went to the airport, and yes, if it's too dangerous to fly, you don't fly. But you don't cancel 12 hours before they're predicting a few inches of snow.
Right.
What's that all about? I mean, it's this everybody living in fear.
So, Michael, at the top of the hour, when we were originally expecting to take advantage of you, we were talking about this year's Motorcycles as Art exhibit, the Skinny. And
yes.
And
I'm so excited.
We wanted to bring you on to talk about it because your curator statement just went out. The names are released to the world now, so it's on. From this point on, it's on. Yeah.
And Michael, we're way ahead of where we were last year. We actually have a bike. We have a direction we're going. We're so far ahead.
You mean you're not going to be in the gallery working on it on Friday night?
I didn't say that. It's us, Michael. Come on.
All righty. That's all right. You get it done.
So talk about the talk about the builders, because one of the things that we said was like not just from a generational aspect, not just from a regional and locale aspect, not just from a design concept aspect. The diversity in this year's lineup is incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited. There's a lot of historical stuff in it too, and certainly I was not thinking that Arlen wouldn't be with us, but Arlen's on top of that list, being alphabetical by first name.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great. We're going to have one of his older bikes, Nestique, in there from 1977.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Yeah, so there's bikes. We have an old Perowitz bike in from the 60s and early 70s. And it's amazing because it's not like Skinny is new. Skinny has been around since the very, very beginning. The earliest bikes are the skinniest bikes.
Yeah.
And then came racing. And as soon as you started tweaking with bikes, the earliest custom bikes were race bikes. That's what custom bikes were, is people tweak their bikes and alter them to make them go fast and change the looks of them.
Yeah, that was bobbers, right? Bobbers came from that, bobbing stuff off.
Yeah, and Skinny was part of that too. You know, with even going back to the board track. So we have Billy Lane's putting in a Merkel, and actually original engine Merkel board tracker in it, and then we got a Speedway bike, and so there's a few historical bikes to give it context, and then around that are all these amazing customs that people are making, including, I believe we have 8 bikes from outside the USA.
Wow, is that a well, I guess it's not a record because you had one show that was all imported bikes.
That's true. Well, actually, the builders that were not born in the USA, so some lived in the USA. But still, this is pretty cool. We got 2 bikes from Italy. We got a bike from Romania, a couple of bikes from Italy, a few Canadian bikes. So I'm thrilled about the international aspect of that as well.
Yeah. So for you guys that haven't had the pleasure of this, in Sturgis once a year, Michael has a gallery showing at the Buffalo Chip. It's called Motorcycles as Art, and every year there's a different theme. And for as long as I can remember now, the theme that happens at this show kind of sets the pace for where we're at and where we're going. And I mean, you really get a good read on things. So it's absolutely a critical and essential part of what we do, and we're so fired up for it this year.
No, I'm totally fired up. You know, I do try to look for things that, where we're going and where we are and sort of the undercurrents of where things are at now. But, then sometimes it's going to take a while for that to happen. Another theme that I've looked at is the cooperative movement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one that I've been looking at for 5 years, and I'm waiting. I don't think the critical mass is there yet to do the show, but I will do a show on the cooperative movement, because I think it's wonderful when these shops open up and you have 30 or 40 members that share a bunch of bays and some lifts and a bunch of tools. Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff, I want to promote that. I just need enough critical mass to make it happen.
That's the hippie in you, Michael.
I guess so, isn't it? It'll never die.
Right on. Well,
also, so I'm wondering why you never did a show called Fat is Where It's At.
Fat is where, okay, that's coming. There you go. You know what? I was pretty close to that because I was thinking that I did the naked show, which is stripping all the paint. Mm-hmm. So actually there was a point, and it's not that it's out of the question, where I look at the skin of things. We stripped the skin away when we said, let's do a naked show and say there's no paint, no finish on the bikes, and let's just look at the raw materials. And when we walked in, and I think that was in 2015.
That was the best. That was the best one ever. Honest to God, like so it really was.
Walk in the gallery and it's a sea of just raw metal. It was so cool. But then, there's something to be said for what people do, and there's amazing painters and people that do finish, and that is what people really notice. So I have not put that out of the question. At some point I may do that, but we'll see how it goes.
I don't know. I think Michael might be a little prejudiced against the fat thing, because now that I think about it, there was the Naked Truth, there was Skin and Bones. Now it's the Skinny.
He's a sizist,
right? He's a sizist. You're a closet sizist.
I'm definitely leaning towards thinners in, but and also the race inspired. It's kind of what motorcycling is about, and what I like to do is what's fun also.
Right.
And to me, getting on a stripped down little bike, that's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, listen.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Our plan here is over the next couple months leading up to this. We're going to start grabbing these guys and bringing them on, and and getting their take on it. And one of the things I love best is in your curator's statement at the end. You said, in the end, it's going to be up to the builders themselves to define what this becomes, and it's going to be the media that judges them for how well they do that.
That's right. It's your peers, it's the public, it's the media. It's that's what it's about. I put it out there, and really, once the people are selected, whether they're visual artists, and I am looking for some visual artists as well, and I could explain that to you in a moment. But it's really up to the people that are invited to interpret the theme, and as we said there, you're judged by your peers.
No.
So only skinny pinup models? Is that what you're going to have for?
Yeah,
art?
right. In terms of the art, I'm looking for a couple of things, and I do need to talk to your daughter there about her dealing with all the artists for CycleSource.
Yeah.
But I am very particular. There's a lot of artists won't fit. I'm looking for line art. So a natural fit is pinstripe artists. So for one thing, Ray Dre is organizing. Mm-hmm. He helps do a pinstripe convention really in Chicago every year, and he's organizing a group of pinstripe artists to be part of this. And Dave Perowitz and Jody are going to be part of it. So pinstripe art naturally feeds to this idea of skinny. It's fine line. So pen and ink really works.
Listen, one of the guys if he's not already been suggested, one of the guys I'm gonna suggest for that is the kid they call Mr. Oz, Corey. He and a couple guys do that thing called Brush Masters. He is amazing pinup or pinstripe artist.
Well, I can't wait to check his art. Now, again, it's not just pinstripe artists. It'll be regular artists too, but I'm not looking for like heavy, like oil painters with big themes and all this. I just really simple stuff.
Yeah.
Get down to the core of what you could do with a pen and ink and with fine line.
Yeah.
How much can you convey with that?
Oh, dude, how about Darren McKagan and his matchbook art?
Darren, I've been meaning to call for the last few days. Ever since that announcement went out, he made a comment on the announcement, and I keep meaning to call Darren personally and invite him because Darren is made for this.
Absolutely.
Of course. Yeah.
What
for
about
sure.
Ed Tilrock? All of his work is in pencil, and he's incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Okay,
it's
well,
fine line enough, but he's quite talented.
I need to see it.
And it is all
So we
pencil.
need-
How about engraving?
I had not thought about it, but I think engraving would really fit. I
Right.
think that's very appropriate. Absolutely.
Tay
Very
Herrera.
good suggestion there, Ken.
Tay Herrera,
Oh,
especially because
I should get Tay.
by hand. Yeah,
Tay's been in before. He'd be perfect.
that'd be awesome.
So that's a very good idea. The idea of, but even with engraving, what do they engrave? Maybe it could be something that suggests the skinny theme.
Right.
Whether it could be an abstract form, it could be an abstract piece of metal, but you could do so much with that. And again,
Same thing with
accent
leather
and come back
tooling,
to the
right?
theme. I'd be
Same
open to
thing.
anything.
Leather tooling. Yeah.
Very good idea.
Yep.
Excellent.
Michael Lichter
I need to
getting us
talk to
all
you
to
guys more.
think.
And vice versa. It's always a pleasure talking with you guys.
So what's the big scoop from Hand Built? What's cool?
I just got here. I had about 3 hours in the show, and Hand Built is very cool. It's a different kind of show. People do come from all over, and they step up to the plate for this. And it's very varied in terms of platforms. You see every type of engine imaginable, including ones that I've never heard of. And people doing really interesting things. I'd say there is definitely a bent for maybe speed-inspired, race-inspired type of bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And also very artistic bikes, things that just what can you do? What can you do with two wheels? And that includes even having electric motors in them. I saw a couple of those here today.
Oh, right on.
Which, I think it's really cool. The people are very open, and we're at a party at this castle overlooking Austin right now where I'm standing, and there's a bunch of bikes out here, and run into Roland Sands is here because they have racing on Saturday that he's sponsoring. So there's a bunch of stuff going on, including it's a huge weekend. I mean, they're going to have flat track right in the parking lot of the Hand Built. But, of course, the MotoGP is going on out of Coda.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Coda, what
it's
a
huge,
beautiful track that is, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Come on, they built it just for it only a few years ago.
Yep.
And then it's also a giant hot rod weekend here. There's a big hot rod event in town.
Oh, is this Lone Star Roundup week?
Yes, it is.
It is, yeah.
It's a great
you
weekend
are
to be
so
into Austin.
lucky, dude.
Austin's hopping.
We should be there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's Ken's
Agreed.
fault.
Ken, it's your fault.
What? What did I do?
All right, man. Well, listen, again, I apologize that we ambushed you. I had no idea. But
Hey, it's always a pleasure to talk with you.
We needed to do this anyway. We needed to get you on here and throw the flag down, so now we can start having some of the builders come on and we can get this thing in gear.
The gauntlet's down.
Yeah,
Let's see what
buddy.
people do. It's so exciting.
For sure.
All right, Mike. Well, thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
Have a good time out there and be safe.
Thank you so much. I'm glad it worked out. See ya.
All right, buddy.
See you, bye.
He's so great.
Yeah, he is.
I feel like such a dick.
Nah, I think I would like to drink with Michael Lichter.
Right?
I bet you he's a blast.
Dude, do you remember V-Twin Expo that one year where they used to have the party right next to where the expo was at that bar?
Yeah, the poison room.
There was a night that was that was something else.
Yes, sir.
Can't
Good time.
Hand built. Do you know whose motorcycle is there and which particular motorcycle?
Who?
Fran Carpio with his dual engine. Yeah. Oh, he
Good for
painted it
him.
metal flake green.
Good for him, man.
Xavier's there too. so is
Xavier is
Christmas.
there. Yep.
Yep.
Right on. So listen, I do want to apologize to you guys one more time. We had a little bit of trouble with the internet connection getting up and running tonight, and because of that, we're late. But it was an awesome show. Paul d'Orleans in the Peterson Museum. Make sure you check that out. Look for that new show coming out from Mr. Shope. Harley Davidson's Battle of the Kings. You definitely want to watch for that when the voting gets open and running. And as always, Michael Lichter, probably one of the best human beings among us.
For sure.
This year's show. So I think that
Yeah.
I think we got it in. We got
Stay
it.
more or
tuned for
less.
Chris's What's the Skinny Build?
Yeah, no, stay tuned for Chris breaking computers immediately after this program.
Oh, please.
Oh, Jesus. No, please don't.
No, but again, I want to thank you guys for letting us come into your headspace, man. This is we have a blast doing this. So in spite of all the little hiccups here and there, and one more time, I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. We're in the Russ Brown Studios doing Shop Talk every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come hell or high water.
That's right. Thank you so much.
And,
Thank you.
I guess until next time, same motorcycle time.
No. Hopefully it'll be.
Well, the regular motorcycle
There
time.
we go.
The right motorcycle time.
The regular
right
motorcycle
channel.
For another episode
of Shop Talk.
See ya.
Bye.